Zuby Ejiofor. Where do we start with Zuby? I'm going to start with the fact that he is a true warrior, a gladiator on the court. And I don't use that word lightly. Extremely high motor, in a class of his own in terms of his effort, physicality, consistency, relentlessness, undeniability. And when you put the combination of how hard Zuby plays with his production, with the fact that he was the Big East Player of the Year, the Defensive Player of the Year in the conference, and the Scholar Athlete of the Year, when you combine his production and his traits, you end up with a player who I simply cannot doubt. I cannot doubt Zuby at the college level. Of course, there's no doubting what he accomplished and how he was the anchor to a St. John's program that was a top 15 team the last 2 years. And Coach Pitino has repeatedly and often unsolicitedly said that he was maybe perhaps his favorite player ever to coach because of how coachable Zuby was. You cannot doubt this kid. I don't doubt him at the college level, and I don't doubt him at the NBA level. I don't see a scenario in which Zuby, with his mentality, his demonstrated work ethic, and his ability to really answer the call and have the answers to the test the last 3 years. Every time, he was tested, he had the answer. I think this tracks as somebody who's going to have a productive career in the NBA. And by productive, I mean potentially infectiously productive, where he can rally the troops, where he can help set a standard, and so much more. So there's a lot to get into, and I'm looking forward to this one because I've seen Zuby play live at least 30 times over the last 3 years. So pretty much at every St. John's home game, some road games, and a couple of neutral site games as well. So here we have Zuby. Just want to, before we get into statistics and things of that nature and his progress and his, development, I want to maybe try to capture his essence a little bit of how physical and relentless and how much effort he plays with inside. And you can just see on these clips, kind of stands out on the screen. These are all like putbacks and follow rebounds, but I think it's a microcosm. These plays are a good indication, I should say, of how he plays and his mentality. I do want to also say he's proven to be very durable. Even with all of the banging and bruising on a consistent basis. I can't remember a game that Zuby missed. He's always there, beginning of the game, end of the game, playing with the same force and physicality, no matter how much he's been in the trenches in that particular game. When the effort is innate, it gives it a different feel, and I feel like in here with Zuby, it's just part of who he is. Okay, real quick, I want to just run through some basic stats before we get into a complete overview of Zuby's game. So last year, 24-25 season, had an excellent season, about 15 points a game, 8 rebounds, 1.5 assists, 1.5 blocks, 1 steal, shot 58% from the field, and didn't shoot too many threes, shot 22% from...
It's here! Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance...
shot 22% from 3, but, only shot 45 attempts. This past season, production was right there. It even increased a little bit, went from... in 30 minutes a game versus 32 minutes a game, he increased his points per game to 16 points a game, had 7 rebounds a game, 3.5 assists. His passing has come a really long way, And that's what I meant when I said that's part of what I meant when I said he had the answers to the test. It wasn't just that his physicality would translate against different styles of players. He's also showing and demonstrating he's actually a cerebral player. 2 blocks a game, 1 steal a game, everything increased there. His 3-pointers have increased in a way that gives you confidence. He has a decent form. He shot 31% this year. Only 1.6 attempts per game, but as if you watch St. John's play on a team that didn't have that much perimeter shooting, other than Oziah Sellers being consistent and Josan Sanin once in a while being consistent, when Zuby was taking a 3, you didn't feel bad about it. You felt kind of good about it. So he can score, he can pass. His scoring profile isn't the most expansive at this part, but it's more advanced than you might think. He's not just doing rebounds and follow ups and putbacks. He has a drop step, he has a hook shot, he can shoot a mid range, he can survey the paint. So we're going to get into his entire game. Real quick on some more advanced play-by-play splits. At the rim, excluding dunks, Zuby shot 60%. So that's tips and layups. And then on other 2-point shots, jumpers, hook shots, floaters, shot 42% on decent volume. And like we said, 31% from 3. So, I could pretty much ad nauseum talk about Zuby's effort and motor and physicality and show different clips. And I'm going to show a bunch of those clips. But I first want to just talk about his defense. So he's a good defender inside, and he seems like he can slide his feet. I'd like to see him get more reps doing so to evaluate that more. But he's a very aware defender. His awareness defensively did impress me, and I want to take a look at that. So he's over here. He's pointing to R.J. Lewis, saying like, hey, John L. Davis is about to set a screen. Be aware. So obviously he knows the scouting report, at least on this specific play. He has a good understanding about what's going to come next. So before Davis does anything, he was there for that. He sees that here. He's able to get around. First, get to Adu and then switch on to Carter Knox. Get the steal. Over here we see him on DJ Wagner slide his feet. Does a decent job. And, as always, he's going to beat everyone down the court. Or as often, as he does often, he's going to beat everyone down the court for an effort layup. A lot of guys, you can say, don't take plays off and don't take possessions off. Zuby doesn't take off the portion that's in between possessions, which is kind of unique to his game. Gets a contest on DJ Wagner. He's going to sprint here down the court. Gets mauled kind of by Billy Richmond. So if we watch that again real quick, he's sprinting down the court. Gets pushed to the ground there. Doesn't get any foul called. Does his best to contest. Transition going back the other way. And he's right here. Kadari ends up, I believe they called a foul on Kadari there, but he gets back into play. Sliding his feet well on a Caden Lewis, one of the shiftier guards in the Big East. Good job staying vertical and putting a body on Tyrus Reed despite the made basket. Good steal there. Good job sliding his feet on Wagner again. Able to switch on to DJ Wagner. Does a decent job. Shows good body position there. Comes down with the board. Over here, Carter Knox able to use a spin move and blow by Zuby. So him defending in space, one-on-one, he's going to need some work on that. But in terms of team defense, defending on the perimeter and sliding and shifting between different areas on the court, he seems like he's relatively adept at that. So let's kind of try to encapsulate his offensive game to the best of, to the best of my ability that I can in this breakdown. First, I want to start though with some effort and hustle plays, and we'll get into the offensive game as well. His strength shows in a lot of ways. Zuby's always, did a really good job establishing position inside. So you can see him here against Duke Brennan, Villanova's best big man this year. Misses the shot, but he establishes position well. This is last season in the tournament versus Arkansas. Was able to establish position against Jonas Adu inside, draw the foul. It's not just about establishing position. He also has shown the ability to finish through contact. Can lower his shoulder as well. He has a drop step that we'll get into, but this is just him lowering his shoulder. Good angles on drives. Here's some of that drop step that I was referring to. He also had a hook shot that he displayed this year. He felt good about it when he shot it. That, he had a good chance of making it. He is relatively explosive, which I don't think he showed too much like a couple of years back, but then late last year, as you can see here, and this year, he did show a lot of explosiveness. Only 18 for 59 from 3 this year, but this is going to have to be, a part of his game going forward, continuing to develop his three-point shot so he can space the floor in the NBA. Mid-range shot. Most of his jump shots are catch and shoot at this stage. If it's not catch and shoot, maybe one dribble. He did shoot 72% at the free throw line this year on 7 attempts per game, so he went 5 for 7 per game on average. Gets blocked by Flory Badunga there. So it makes you wonder, is he athletic enough? I think the answer is yes. I'm not going to say one play means you have to question the whole thing, and Flory is an elite athlete at the college level at the least. But, with the explosiveness that we've seen from Zuby, with the physicality, I think his athleticism is definitely, up to par. Zuby's really high-level passer at St. John's this season. He actually finished in the top 10 in assist rate, total assists and assists per game in the conference. 3.5 assists per game. Passing out of double teams, does a really good job of that as well.